hour that they think that you would like to meet. Great job. One of the best I ever had in my life. I also remember attending a party there on the roof. There's 13 floors, and on the roof, which is directly above the 13th floor, there was a party for Ringo Starr's record. It had just come out, and they were using a laser system that they were bouncing between the buildings from the roof of Capitol. Now, this is like 1973 or 1974, and it was really a thrill to see that laser beam that they were beaming to the different buildings, and that was an incredible experience. That party, incredible experience. I met Keith Moon at that, and he wasn't just crazy; he was crazier than everybody thinks. He was a nut. A lot of good things, a lot of great times working down in Hollywood at that time. A lot of great bands. Oh my God. If you were around and you were in a band then, you were good. You had to be good. You like this kind of music, right? Do you remember Sparks?
Oh yeah, I saw him.
Sparks was signed to Island, and the Island record company was distributed through Capitol and EMI. And so that was a great band from that period. Remember Stars?
I remember Stars. I actually saw them at the Starwood one time.
That band was signed to Capitol too. That was back in the days when the record company would sign you and nurture you. And if you didn't break on the first record, they would give you another shot, maybe even another shot, and they would break the act over a period of a couple of albums. So that's long gone, but that's the music business that I learned, and that's the time that I happened to come on the scene, and that was a great job. And incidentally, after that job, I got kind of itchy. I wanted out of the mailroom, so I got a job in the publicity department of a record company at ABC Dunhill Records, and that was cool while it lasted, but then I was the victim of a corporate layoff, and I was never able to get back in the record company. But you know what, though? That was kind of like a sign of the times, because I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to make music, not be behind the scenes in a record company. So that was one of the definite times in my life where I see that fate took a hand and said, no, 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 not that way. Go this way. So I guess that's good.
So did you hang out at Rodney Bingenheimer's at all?
I went there a couple of times to see my brother, and I went there a few times with him, okay? And once in a while when Randy used to play there, he didn't have a drummer, so he would use my drummer. His name was Gene, and he would borrow Gene, and I would go there a few times. So I went there, but I thought that it was a little too cramped, and it was kind of uncomfortable because it was such a narrow, long building, and it was a little bit uncomfortable there for me. So I did go a couple of times. Ironically, I never went there and saw Randy with Smokey. I never saw one of those shows. But I did go there, yeah.
They were good shows. Randy was on top of his game. I know that ultimately Smokey didn't think he was that great of a player, but Randy really was, even then.
Well, that's funny because Smokey's got the distinction of being about the only person that didn't think that Randy's talent was up to snuff. But that's not the reason that I heard that he didn't work with that band anymore. I heard the reason was because he thought that Randy went out of tune all the time, and he thought that was unprofessional.
And broke strings.
Well, that problem was solved. That's a minor thing. Randy started using a heavier gauge, and then he didn't break as many strings. But when he played the guitar, he played the guitar. He didn't just dust the strings. He pulverized them.
Yeah, and he really sounded a lot like Glenn Buxton meets Mick Ronson to me.
Well, that would probably be a pretty accurate way to describe his playing at that time. And that's what all these people have to do. These people that come in and they book a tour here. We have tours all the time. And they come in and they've got their Randy Rhoads T-shirts on, and they've got their Randy Rhoads pick, and they want to play Crazy Train for you and stuff like that. And I tell them, I go, this is really good for like the very start, okay? But then you have to leave this behind, and you have to start to develop your own style. And if Randy was here, that's what he would tell you to do. So sometimes people don't get the reaction from me, that they think they're going to get, because influence is very important. Somebody's got to light the spark, but then you have to take it from there. You've got to take it from there. It's no good to just want to play like Eddie Van Halen songs or Jeff Beck songs. It's got to be what inspires you, and then you take it from there and take it to the next level. Not that you have to compose music. You can be in a rock band and play guitar and not write anything. That happens too. But it would be good for everybody to at least get into that to the degree where they can make their own tunes.
Yeah, writing songs is fun.
I think so. I love composing music more than anything else. That's my favorite thing. That and recording them, that and of course spending time with my wife.
So are you ever going to take your music out on the road?
I have. I was in your country in September. Now, if you mean a purely classical performance, I look forward to that, but I have not done that yet. I've always combined the two, which is what I did when I was in northern Canada and Newfoundland. I got to do both. I was in a band called the Vegas Lounge Lizards, and I really loved that band. It was a rock and roll experience. A bunch of young guys, college students. They didn't have a bunch of stupid pie-in-the-sky dreams about being rock stars. They were all college students. One of them was a professor. And these guys really sounded good, And so I worked with them and did a record with them. And then they even included one of my classical compositions on their record. Like when Ozzy let Randy make that D composition on his record, these people let me do a whole composition for their record, which is basically a rock record. And what I contributed was a classical piano piece.
So are you near a piano right now?
I am.
Did you have
And I'm prepared to give you a little bit of taste of what I do. So I'm going to play two selections for you. And are you pretty much ready to hear them?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll.
Okay, let me just get to the piano and set the phone up.
Okay. Right. We're talking with Kelle Rhoads here on RadioAmplifier.com, and this is your host, Jett Systems, and he's getting ready to play some of his own music right here, right now.
Just a second, I'm getting set up. Hold on.
He just needs a moment here.
Just a moment. I got to get the mic. I got to get the phone in the right place. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Sea of Labrador, and the second composition is the piano cadenza from Satan's Circus.
That's beautiful.
Thank you, Jett.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, I actually really love that music, and I'm looking forward to hearing you get up here one day and being able to watch you do a whole show.
Well, you know what? It's going to happen. I can't tell you when, and it probably won't be next week, but it is going to happen. It will happen. I definitely want to go back to Canada. I was treated great. Geez, I was on TV. I was on the news. I mean, it was really, really a great experience. And when they say that people from Newfoundland are really hospitable and really nice, it's so true. They just couldn't have been kinder. I mean, the Japanese people were really kind, but you don't know what they're saying. But the Newfoundland people, at least, you know, everybody speaks the same language, and they were just absolutely, really, really, really wonderful, hospitable people, open arms, just treated you great. So, do I want to go back to Canada? Do I want to travel and maybe get to see some other cities? Absolutely. I wasn't a big, huge fan of the Toronto airport. That was a little weird, but other than that, it was a great experience all the way around.
And most airports suck, anyways.
That's true, huh? Especially now. Just difficult. I mean, I can appreciate the security measures, and I know we need them, but it just,